Well, it's time for our children's message, and it's so good to have so many children of God present with us this day. Who took note of the fact that somebody parked very close to the front door today in not a usual parking spot? Yeah. Anything special that you took note of about that vehicle?
Muddy.
It was very, very muddy, yes. A confession, I parked my muddy truck next to the front door of the church today, but I have a reason, because it's part of the story I want to tell you all today. 2 weeks ago, Sunday, a once in a lifetime, once in a 1,000-year occurrence happened. That's what the geologists are saying. In my old hometown in Red Lodge, Montana. The combination of torrential rains and an amount of extra snow in the mountains, and then very warm weather all conspired together to send torrents of water down the canyon through what is normally called Rock Creek. Well, Rock Creek became a raging river last 2 Sundays ago, and it breached its banks and flooded much of the town, or a good portion of the town. About 150 homes were affected. 4 or 5 homes completely lost, destroyed, washed away, one of them. And all those affected homes, the remaining affected homes, had their basements filled with muddy water, silt and rocks. And the main street of town was actually for a section of it was the riverbed for a while. And as the waters receded, we saw what looked like the bottom of a riverbed, big rocks and boulders and an incredible amount of mud. Well, as plans got organized, I was talking with some friends back there, and they said, hey, guess they're organizing volunteer crews to come and help these homeowners clean up after this flood. And I thought, that's something I can do. I have a pickup. I know where the shovels are kept at the church. I don't actually have any shovels at home anymore. But so last Sunday, I made the decision that early Monday morning, I would jump in that black pickup and drive back to Red Lodge to see how I could be helpful. And this month we're talking about these wonderful stories from the Bible about feeding, but it got me thinking about another wonderful story of the Bible that many of us learn, especially when we're young, about Noah and a flood. And how the flood came and destroyed everything, except God still worked through Noah and his family to take care of the world. And even though that flood represented a tremendous amount of devastation and loss, God still worked through Noah and his family. And that promise that God made after that flood, that God would continue to work with God's people no matter what, that God would continue to love the world through God's people, no matter what they did, no matter how poorly they behaved, that God was going to love them no matter what. That promise sustained thousands of years of human history and all the way up until today, and we trust into the future as well. And so my witness to come to Red Lodge, Montana last Tuesday morning when I finally got there was to remind the people that I know that God loves them no matter what. And this flood that came through here is just a challenge, but something else remains. That love still remains. So, I mucked out basements I hauled up the things that people store in their basements of these old Finnish miner houses, many of them still owned by the same old Finnish families, and the old Italian part of town, and many of them still owned by those same Italian families, and their treasures and collections covered in mud and dirt, and having to go sort through all that and clean things out. And for those who had finished basements, we tore out drywall and we ripped up flooring, and it all ended up, well, not all of it, but as much as I could carry, I put it in the back of my pickup truck and hauled it to a dump site where all the people were piling up their stuff. And then the county and the waste haulers would come and use big front end loaders and put it into trucks and haul it away. And in the process, I was able to greet old friends and neighbors and remind them that they are loved deeply. And that it's that love that will sustain us. And so this story of Noah and the flood, we have to remember, is about how much God truly loves us. And so I think for a few days, I got a sense of what it means to share that love with people who needed it most. Thank you for listening to my story this day.